Let us now see how to delete an element, or change its size, move, rotate, or copy it. The commands we are interested in are these here, which can also be accessed more quickly with the right mouse button. To delete an element, I can select the element. I can use this command here, or more simply press Canc on the keyboard. If I want to delete a group of elements, I can click to create a window. I can click again, so I select them all at the same time. And again, I can press Canc on the keyboard. To change the size of the element, I can, as seen before, double-click the element. Here I have the coordinates in space. Here I have the dimensions, width, depth, and height. So here I would just type in, for example, 1200. Or I can use scale element. Right-click, scale element, one click on the element. If I click on the small squares by clicking on the corners, the element will be scaled in both directions. Right-click. If instead I use this small square here, the element will only be scaled horizontally. Even if I click, for example, here, I can make right-click here. To deactivate the command scale element. Elements are all parametric, so they are not stretched but rebuilt. For example, the thickness of the sides doesn't change. Let us see how the elements are moved. I will click on the plan view. If, for example, you want to move this chair, right-click, move element, one click on the chair, a click on one of its hook points. For example, this central one. Then if I activate the orthogonal mode, the movement will only be orthogonal. If I deselect the orthogonal mode, instead it will be free. Now, I can either move it to a random point and click, or type the length of the movement on the keyboard. If, on the other hand, I want to hook one element to another, here I can right-click, for example the table to this tool unit. Then I will not select any point on the table, but I will select this hooking point here. For example, deselect the orthogonal mode and then select the hooking point of the tool unit. Then I can move the chair here. If I want to move several elements at the same time, I can select them with a click. In this case, I don't recall the command move element with the right mouse button. Otherwise, I deselect the elements, but I use this icon here. A click on a hooking point, and I can bring them back to the previous position. Right mouse click. If I have to raise this hood, right click again. Move element. A click on the hood. A click on the central hooking point. I can activate the orthogonal mode, then either raise it to a random point or again on the keyboard. I can enter a value, for example, 100. Alternatively, right-click to deactivate move element. I can double-click on the hood and use the coordinates. So X position is the distance to the left edge of the wall. Y is the distance to the wall. Z is the distance to the ground. In this case, I could make it 1620 and do OK. To copy an element, for example this chair, right-click, copy element, a click on the chair, a click on a hooking point. I can choose the direction of the second chair. Then either I click again to position it, or I can type the distance there should be between the chairs on the keyboard. For example, 620. Here, I can also decide how many copies I want, for example 2. I'm going to click on a chair again to make a copy here. I'll click here. If I now want to rotate this chair, I can use this command. Then a click on the chair. A click on a hooking point. I deselect the orthogonal mode and rotate it in this way here. Or I can right-click, double-click on the chair, and use this arrow. I can rotate with respect to the center. And moving the arrow, I can rotate the chair. If I want, I can also enter the angle directly, for example 90, and click on OK.